Hey there, geeks! I'm Kevin Andrew Rivera.
And I'm Raul Ceballos.
You're listening to Real Geek News,
a monthly podcast where we geek out about movies, TV, and streaming.
We got a month's worth of news to talk about, so without further ado,
let's get geeky.
Raul, we are on time today. We are recording this, what day is today? The 29th. It's the 29th today. So if we missed any news, if we missed anything tomorrow, then that's... Hey, we're sorry, okay? But we were late last time. We wanted to be on time this time around.
We're on time now, so suck it, YouTube commenters.
Yeah, YouTube commenters. Oh, man, we definitely got to bring that up for a second.
Yeah. Anybody listening to this on YouTube, just know we're a monthly podcast, all right? So we break down all the news from the month. We're not we're not like on top of this shit like the day it comes out, all right? I can't tell you how many times I've seen the comments, old news! This is old news now!
Yeah, it's like, of course it's old news. We're trying to catch people up who haven't seen the news.
Read the freaking description to our channel, guys.
Jeez. So who's our target audience right now, Raul? Like, people who should be listening to this.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way, all right? In case you just haven't been paying attention since the beginning. This is a podcast for those who cannot keep up with this news on a day-to-day basis. And so we just gather up the month's, the top 10 movie news stories of the month, and we bring it to you guys,
Yeah.
Because not everybody can keep up with this stuff all the time. It's a lot.
Yeah. Also, there's like some stuff here where whenever we go through the articles ourselves, we'll find something that we didn't realize was announced this past month, and we're like, oh man, we should talk about that. That'd be awesome. And so here we are. Hopefully you as the listeners will also hear something and be like, oh, I didn't hear that news before. That's cool to hear. So, hey, you never know. You never know what you're going to get.
And if this isn't for you, if that's not what you're into, if you want news like right on top of it, this isn't the podcast for you. Go somewhere else. We don't want you here.
And trust me when I say we love hearing these movie news on the spot as well.
We do keep up with it on the spot. Yeah.
We ourselves are busy guys who do a lot, so we don't always have the time ourselves to record every single week to report stuff. Yeah, so we're like, hey, why don't we make it a monthly thing and make it more fun for all of us? Anybody who wants to catch up with us.
We do this for fun. We're not getting paid for it, and you're not paying to listen to it. It's free entertainment, so shut the hell up, all right?
We're not getting paid?
No.
Dang it!
It's gonna happen. All
right, we gotta stop the show. We got to stop the show. Hold on a second.
We're done. Sorry.
But in all sincerity, it definitely is really fun working on this stuff. And for all the listeners out there, we do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And we hope we could just share the love, share the movie love, because we love movies. We're big nerds as well. And you could be our fellow geeks and join us along our geeky adventures of movies. Speaking of which, we will be talking about North by Northwest at the end of this episode, because I need to give you some thoughts on these old-timey-wimey movies.
Oh, God, Kevin, there's no hope for you, is there?
Did I say it was bad news or was it good news? I don't know. What do you think?
Your tone, I could hear the tone. We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Well, why don't we jump on into our first topic of the day here? We have main topic number 1. Donald Glover confirms Lando return talks are happening. This is pretty crazy news. So this comes to us from Screen Rant. Speaking to GQ about his most iconic characters across film and television, Glover talks about his role as Lando and the potential to bring him to the small screen with his own Disney Plus TV show. He also confirms the series is indeed still in development after being announced in 2020 by Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, as well as what it would take to officially move the series forward. Here's a quote by Donald Glover. He says, I would love to play Lando again. It's a fun time to be him. It just needs to be the right way to do it. I'm not interested in doing anything that's just going to be like a waste of my time or just a paycheck. So it just has to be the right thing, which I think could be. So yeah, we're talking about it. Glover ends the Lando segment by saying he can't really share more without Kennedy hunting him down. So it does seem likely that it's going to be an ongoing process. Yeah, Raul, how do you feel about Lando Calrissian, a series on Disney Plus? How do you feel about all that, man? Uh-oh, I think you muted yourself.
There we go.
There it is.
I do think that would be interesting. When did this happen? Did this happen pre-celebration?
This was, I think, pre-celebration. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I think it's interesting though that this wasn't. If that's the case, this was not mentioned at
It
Celebration.
says here April 6th is when Screen Rant posted this.
Okay, so Celebration like started the very next day. It was like the 7th through the 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was very interesting. I think that would be cool, and I think it's cool to see that Donald Glover's willing to come back. He's down for it. Yeah, so I guess it's okay. It's still in development, but we've heard nothing about it from Celebration.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I
it
don't know how
wasn't
to
in the
feel about that.
cards. But also, if you think about it, the Star Wars Celebration, it wasn't in the cards to talk about the Taika Waititi movies or the Ryan Johnson movie, which we know is never going to happen. Or, there's a couple of other things that Star Wars could have mentioned on that weekend, but they didn't.
Which I guess that gives me hope that, okay, so I guess hopefully that means that the stuff that they did announce during Celebration is a little more solidified. So I guess if that's how they were doing it, so this is still a little up in the air, kind of like the Taika Waititi thing or the, I don't know, what was the other one they were talking about?
The Ryan Johnson film?
Uh,
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
That much. That's done. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Right, like the Taika Waititi project, that's a little less solidified. So yeah, they didn't announce it. So I'm hoping maybe this is kind of in that vein.
Well, okay, Raul, let me ask you this though. If you saw a Lando TV series, what would you want it to be about?
I'd like to see him just flying through the galaxy, meeting nice women and men, and
let's go fly and meet some robots.
Yeah, I'd like to see like an MTV Cribs style format with Lando showing us his ship. This is where I keep my Colt 45. I'm sorry.
Hello, everybody. Hey, baby. My name's Lando, and this is my ship.
I would like to see. Yeah, I would like to see some. I was gonna say prequel before Solo, but honestly, I don't think we need that. I'd like to see some adventures like between the time of Solo and when we see him again in Empire. See how did Lando become the administrator of this facility, in Cloud City?
That's a good idea.
How did he get to that point? What did he have to do? Did he do some things that he may not have been proud of? Was there a lot of, I don't know, did he have to claw his way to the top? How did he get to the position that he's gotten to when we see him in Empire?
Did you know? Yeah. You know that I don't know if you saw the full interview of this with Donald Glover, but he was asking oh my god, I'm blanking out on his name. The guy who played Lando Calrissian. What was his name?
Donald Glover? You're talking about Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. Oh my god, Kevin, blanking out. Boo. But no, he apparently was talking to Billy D. Williams before he had played him in the Solo movie and was like, hey, so like, do you have any advice? Like, what do I do to play Lando? And Billy D. Williams was like, oh yeah, I don't know, man. Just be charming, And he's like, okay, that's cool. No real advice there, but all right.
Yeah, if we were gonna do something like, if we were gonna do something, settle more in the area of like pre-Solo, I would like to see like how he came to be with L337, because that's kind of an interesting relationship. If you watch Solo, they do kind of there is like a subtle hint of like maybe some romance there or something like that between Lando and L337, which that's an interesting kind of thing that could be explored.
Yeah.
How did he meet L337? How did they start their adventures together and whatnot?
See, you've got more ideas than I do, because the only thing I had in mind was the end of episode 9 where Billy D. Williams he's looking at this girl and he's like, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for my dad. Oh, I could help you with that. And I'm like, are you the dad, or are you gonna go help her find her dad? Like, how does that work?
Kind of do this weird, subtle hint that maybe he might be her father, and then they just throw it away for the rest of the movie and never talk about it again.
Like, well, because they throw it at the very end. They're like, oh, and the movie's over. Like, oh, okay, well, like,
I mean, that's
what you've got to look forward to. Do we? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I heard something about Donald Glover doing like a back and forth future and past scenes where like he plays the young version of Lando Calrissian, and you find out how he falls in love with this woman, and then that woman ends up having that girl from the future, and then you see Billy D. Williams' version of Lando in the future trying to help her find her dad, when in all reality, he is the dad. And it's like, oh, but
that would be an interesting take. Yeah, but who knows, man? This could, there are a lot of interesting places on the timeline where you can focus a Lando show. I'm really, of the things that we've mentioned, I'm really the most interested in seeing the time between Solo and Empire. I'd like to see how he became.
I like that too.
The person he became by the time we see him again in Empire. Because he's such a different person now. And also, did he have more interactions with Han? I mean, he had to have. He had to have.
Oh yeah, totally. Also, can we just bring up the point that Donald Glover is so transparent in this interview? The fact that he says, "I'm not interested in doing anything that's just going to be like a waste of my time or just a paycheck." That's so cool.
That's really blunt.
That's so blunt. I feel like only Donald Glover could say something like that against Disney's Star Wars, you know?
And you can tell that's how Donald Glover operates. He doesn't do anything just for the paycheck. You know, everything he does is because he's super, super passionate about it. He's such a big, you know, he's got, you know, with the Deadpool animated show that never ended up happening, but he's like a comic book geek like that, you know? Anything that he's, you know, Star Wars and Marvel, even when he showed up as, Aaron, God, what's his name? Oh my God, the Prowler. You know, the character who plays the Prowler in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Although he wasn't the Prowler yet,
right?
In that scene.
Why did I almost say Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Aaron Davis. No, Aaron Davis. Aaron Davis.
Yeah, not Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kevin.
Not Aaron Taylor. Aaron Davis, who is Miles. We know in the comics is Miles Morales' uncle. Anyway, so he's super into this kind of stuff. So everything he does it specifically because he's so passionate about it, which is amazing. So it's nice to see that he has an interest in this and that we know he's not, like he says, he's not doing it for a paycheck. You know, he's doing it because he really wants to do it. So if he really wants to do it, and I loved how Donald Glover played Lando in Solo. He was one of my favorite parts of Solo. He did a great job. So I loved it. I love seeing him do it. He wants to do it. I'd be excited if this ends up happening.
Yeah, me too. I mean, as long as they come up with something cool, I'm down, you know, but it is nice to see that they're at least trying to have conversations about this kind of thing. I don't know what they're going to come up with per se, but I do like the direction that you're heading in with those ideas, because that would actually be pretty cool to see stuff like that. Well, then, we got our next topic here. We got Five Nights at Freddy's movie is being announced. This comes to us from Collider. Five Nights at Freddy's, a terror-filled game to movie adaptation set to hit screens this fall. This fall! We haven't even seen a trailer yet. Gamers and horror fans alike are counting down the months until the FNAF movie release, eager to see their favorite game come to life on the big screen. The official synopsis for the film via Blumhouse reads, the film follows a troubled security guard as he begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While spending his first night on the job, he realizes the night shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. Josh Hutcherson, The Hunger Games, plays the terrified new night guard, Mike Schmidt. Joining him are Matthew Lillard from Scream, and the guy who plays Shaggy in all the Scooby-Doo stuff now, as William Afton, Elizabeth Lale from You as Vanessa, Mary Stuart Masterson as Fried Green Tomatoes, what are my words today? Fried Green Tomatoes, played by Mary Stuart Masterson. And what are my words? What am I reading?
Mary Stuart Masterson appeared in a movie called Fried Green Tomatoes, so she has been cast in this movie as an as yet named villain. There you go.
Oh my God, my brain! Am I dyslexic today? What's going on? we got Piper Rubio from Unstable as Abby, and Kat Connor Sterling a week away as Max. Filming for that sentence, I think I just wrote it wrong. I think that's what happened.
Man. You wrote it, not me.
That's on me. Filming for Five Nights at Freddy's began on February 1st. After being delayed by almost 2 years due to script changes, the movie wrapped on April 3rd. 3 days later, on April 6th, FNAF producer Jason Blum announced via Twitter that the movie will release on October 27th, 2023, just in time for Halloween on the day of its release. FNAF will be available in theaters across the United States as well as on the streaming platform Peacock.
Interesting.
Let me
Day and
start.
date? It's gonna be day and
It's a
date?
day and date. Let's start with that because like
Hmm.
I already feel like that's gonna make it fail if you're gonna put it on streaming as well as theaters. But come on, at the same time, let it make some money first in the theater, then bring it to streaming. That's always worked. Like that always works.
Yeah, we've seen with all these movies that have done the day and date streaming and theater release at the same time, it doesn't always help. It doesn't always they don't end up making that much money. Because well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, like, well, why would I go to the theater when I could just put on Peacock and I'm already subscribed to Peacock and I can just watch it at home?
Yeah.
So that doesn't seem to help. And especially the biggest examples I can think of are like the Halloween movies. Those last two, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. I mean, the stupid idea that they had to put that on Peacock, this day and date release.
It killed it.
It really did. I mean, also they sucked. Those movies sucked. But
You didn't like the first one though?
I love the first one.
The first one was really great.
The first one of the reboot, yes, the 2018 one. But then the next two, holy shit, those were awful. So plus the fact that they did this stupid day and date release thing on Peacock, it just like killed all the potential box office.
Yeah.
Any potential box office it could have made.
That's why it's like, look at Nintendo with their Super Mario Bros. Movie. Like which we will be talking about later today, but like they didn't put their movie out on streaming, and like it's doing really well now, which again we will talk about later. But like you look at this and it's another video game movie thing, and you want it to succeed. Like I want video game movies to succeed, but the more they do this to themselves, the more they pin themselves down with what they could possibly do in the future. Because now this movie is not going to make as much money, I feel. Or at least people aren't going to want to go to the theater as often. However, let's talk about this though. Five Nights at Freddy's, they finished filming in April and this movie's coming out in October. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, they did announce, Jason Blum, I know, announced a while ago. Remember, he put this picture on Twitter of somebody at the Jim Henson Creature Shop working on what looks like the Freddy costume, or the Freddy animatronic. I remember I remember seeing that sometime last year. And so, yeah, I had known about this. I'd been aware of this movie being in the works. And yeah, I guess, they went ahead and filmed it and finished it on April 3rd. Wow.
My guess is that the box office or the budget for the movie is really low.
Oh yeah, of course. This is like it's a horror movie. I mean, traditionally horror movies tend to work on a lower budget, which a lot of times will work in its favor.
Oh yeah.
Because the filmmakers can get a little more creative with things, and it's that's typically the case. But yeah, this is really interesting. So we got some casting announcements. Josh Hutcherson from The Hunger Games, which I haven't seen him since The Hunger Games, honestly. I don't know.
Dude, I still remember him. He was in Bridge to Terabithia, wasn't he?
Bridge to Terabithia, yeah.
Which made every child sad by the end of the movie. It was
depressing.
Yeah.
Depressing movie. No, but yeah, Josh Hutcherson, who's going to play the main character, the guard, Mike Schmidt, which I think is a character in the game, right? Isn't he the protagonist in the game? Have you
I think so, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple characters here who I recognize from the game, like Matthew Lillard's character, William Afton. Spoilers for those who haven't played the game. He's the antagonist. He's the one who's dressing up as Freddy.
Yeah.
Right? Which is interesting that they get Matthew Lillard for that, because he's the original, one of the two original antagonists in the original Scream movie. Again, dressed up as a crazy killer character who gets revealed at the end.
Dude, I'll always remember him as the Friday the 13th Ghost. He's
God, no.
Which you remember watching?
This torture that you put me through, Kevin, back in October.
No,
with
it was beautiful.
Our movie of the month challenge. Kevin made me watch 13 Ghosts, which I wanted to rip my eyeballs out.
Watch. Oh man, that's what the movie's supposed to do. It rips people's eyes out, and then it's got Matthew Lillard.
I'd like to keep my eyes so that I can watch good movies.
Oh, that too. That's probably a good idea.
Yes, so Matthew Lillard, that's interesting. And a couple other characters I'm not familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah, the other cast members, I have no idea who these guys are. But Hey, I mean, listen, if they're ready to commit and do it, then great. Josh Hutcherson as the main character and Matthew Lillard as the bad guy, I'm okay with that. I think it'll be fun. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, what we want to see the most is the giant animatronics murdering things, right? So,
Which I'm so excited about because this is Jim Henson's Creature Shop working on this stuff.
heck yeah, it's
So
gonna be
cool.
awesome.
I love it. I love that they're working on this.
And it's cool because if this does succeed, which I know we just talked about the box office with the streaming and the whatnots, but like if it does succeed, that means we could possibly see more movies, more sequels, or the company that works on the video games could stretch out and do more things other than Five Nights at Freddy's, maybe.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I'm hoping. Oh, sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna finish it with, it does seem like if the budget is small, it will make the money back, which I guess maybe business-wise makes sense as to why they would be okay with putting it on
Right.
Peacock, because
Yeah.
maybe they're just confident that they'll make that money back and then some, whether or not they have it on Peacock or not. But who doesn't want to see that in a big screen theater? That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's really neat. I know the thing is like when you see stuff like this and you're day and date they're putting it on streaming, it just kind of gives you less confidence that it's going to be good because it makes you wonder, well, why would the studio just kind of throw it away like that? You
Right.
know, it kind of makes you think, does the studio not have enough confidence? But I'm hoping it's gonna be one of those situations where, like, Prey came out on streaming, like, it came out on Hulu, and it was, like, so freaking
It
amazing
was really good.
that it almost makes you think, like, "Oh, maybe they maybe the studio was like, well, maybe we should have put that on theaters," you know? So, I'm hoping it could be something like that, where the movie actually is good and it makes the studio kinda rethink its, choices and, you know, we'll see. There's still hope that it could be a good movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just very cartoony and zany in a way because these animatronic characters are just. I think we're supposed to go in just to have a good time. Like I'm not expecting to
Mm.
be really scared. I'm just expecting a good time. And with all these cartoony things going on, we also got our next topic here, which is Stranger Things animated series. This comes to us from Variety. Netflix is continuing to build out the Stranger Things franchise with a streaming giant ordering an animated series set within the world of the show. Nearly all details about the show are being kept under wraps, aside from the fact that it was developed by Eric Robles and Flying Bark Productions. Robles has previously created the animated shows Random Cartoons, Fanboy and Chum Chum, and Glitch Tex. Stranger Things creators, the Duffer Brothers, executive produced via Upside Down Pictures, along with Robles of Flying Bark, as well as Sean Levy and Dan Cohen of 21 Laps. Upside Down Pictures and 21 Laps are currently under overall deals at Netflix. Here's a quote. It says, "We've always dreamed of an animated Stranger Things in the vein of a Saturday morning cartoon that we grew up loving, and to see this dream realized has been absolutely thrilling." The Duffer Brothers said in a statement, we couldn't be more blown away by what Eric Robles and his team have come up with. The scripts and artwork are incredible, and we can't wait to share more with you. The adventure continues. I'll be honest.
Mm.
I feel like I'm treading on a fine line here because we're both voice actors, so I shouldn't say anything against it. However, I know it says here that the Duffer Brothers, they can see a whole idea of like an animated series. I personally can't see it. So I hope
Well,
they
you're
can.
not the Duffer Brothers,
I
Kevin.
know,
It's
but
not coming from your mind.
it's just weird because
I get it, though.
Netflix has had Stranger Things going on for years. I mean, they're on season
Mhm.
4 now. They're about to do their final season after this. And
Yeah.
they've just had this cast of characters going for so long that
Yeah.
there's a part of me that kind of thinks, are we stretching it? Are we stretching it too much? But at the same time, I'd love to see more Stranger Things. I'm not tired of it. However, I hope the Duffer Brothers aren't really just saying that they've got ideas just because Netflix has paid them or something like that. I don't know. Is that too much? I feel like
No, I get the concern. I think, there is, because I hear this at first, and my instinct is to kind of roll my eyes a little bit because it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Here's another instance of them trying to squeeze out as much as they can out of this very strong, successful IP. All right, well, let's make an animated show. But I had to like kind of step back and like think about it for a second, and I don't know. as long as, well, I shouldn't say that because you never know if what I'm thinking is like hopefully they don't focus on hopefully it's like different characters. You know what I mean? What if it's just a show about different characters' interactions with the Upside Down and not necessarily the characters that we're following? Because if it were that, if we were seeing Eleven and Mike and Dustin and all them all in animated form and we were following their further stories and adventures, I'd be like, I don't need this. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need any of this. But if the animated show focused on just the Upside Down and other characters in the Upside Down, or, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, I'd say like Stranger Things tangential, Stranger Things adjacent, that would be interesting because you have so much more you can explore. You're not handcuffed to like the Wheelers and all that stuff, or 11, you know?
Yeah. Also, it's supposed to be a Saturday morning cartoon show, but like I watch Stranger Things and I don't. Well, I mean, I get it. It's all different genres, right? But like when I think of Stranger Things, I think PG-13, like more towards teens and adults. And you know, it's gotten darker and darker as the seasons have gone by, which I didn't think was possible, but it did. And now suddenly we're gonna go back in time and make them all kids. I don't know, make them all kids, but make it more for kids, I suppose. Try to go back.
Yeah, what I was going to ask you, what do you think that would even look like? I mean, that's assuming that, see, that's the thing. You say animated series, a lot of people will think, oh, so for kids, right? But we got to remember, animated doesn't just mean it's for kids.
Well, I'm thinking about the
especially
director,
nowadays.
The guy who does the directing for Fanboy and Chum Chum. I've watched that show.
He said Saturday morning cartoons, didn't he?
Oh yeah, Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
I mean, the director himself, like he's created again random cartoons, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Glitch Tex.
And you've seen those? You've seen all those?
I've seen 2 of those, and they're very on the kiddish side, and so I wonder if it's just to reach out to new target audiences, you know? Which how
do you even do that?
I'm not sure. So, but that's the thing is like I have a lot of skepticism right now.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to give it a try if they showed us, and if they were really confident in these ideas, then great. What I was saying earlier was, I just hope Netflix wasn't just like, hey, we'll pay you money to come up with more ideas right now. And the Duffer Brothers are like, oh my God, like, I mean,
hurry,
Netflix,
come up with something. Let's get up with something.
Like
right
Netflix,
now.
but I get it because the Duffer Brothers, Netflix is their home. Like these guys, Netflix loves them so much because look at how much success that they've brought them, you know? It's just a matter of time before they want to try to move on, possibly. I don't know, but I thought for sure that once the Duffer Brothers were done, that they were going to start working with Marvel or DC or do something that's like outside of, you know, the Stranger Things universe. But clearly, we live in a day and age right now in Hollywood where everything has to have a universe, a film universe. What's it called? A cinematic universe is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you want to let go of this universe that you've already created? Probably not. But, you know, I give my trust to the Duffer Brothers because I want them to succeed because I love them and I do love their content. But I know that they could do so many other cool things if they weren't just doing Stranger Things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just the thing. If it's going to be like a Saturday morning cartoon, what would that even look like if you're dealing with the Upside Down and, you know, Stranger Things, just the source, I mean, just everything that involves Stranger Things itself, it's already kind of innately dark stuff. So how do you do a kidified Saturday morning cartoon version dealing with anything related to Stranger Things? I just don't know how you would do it. I'm sure we're not getting paid to write it. They are. So I'm sure they're coming up with something, but right now I just can't picture it.
They'll find a way. I mean, look at Star Wars, right? Star Wars has a bunch of kid shows while at the same time doing the dark stuff as well. I just saw on Disney Plus the other day that they have like a Young Jedi's Junior kind of thing going on where it's literally just little kid like Disney Junior animation, but with little Padawan Jedis. And so I looked at it and I was like, ooh, hope that's not canon. I don't want to have to watch that.
It's not in my head canon.
Like, hey, listen, great for the kids growing
That's
up
great.
who get to grow up and love Star Wars. But
look, my daughter will probably end up watching it at some point, and that's great. She'll watch it, but in my head, I'm still like, this is still not canon. This is still. I'm glad my daughter likes it, but this is not part of it.
You know, I'm having I have a fine line between the Star Wars universe stuff, just because I look at stuff like Star Wars Rebels, and listen, everybody says a lot of positive things about Star Wars Rebels, but I find it really hard sometimes to get through the whole thing because it is aimed towards kids. And so I think of that when I'm thinking about Stranger Things animation. Like, do I want to sit through this if it's canon to the rest of the series? Or is it going to be like in its own thing and its own universal kind of idea, you know?
If that's how you feel about Rebels, though, then definitely don't watch Star Wars Resistance. That's even more. You know, I never watched it. Rebels, I enjoy Rebels. I really like Rebels a lot, but I stayed away from Star Wars Resistance because
I don't think Resistance is canon. No, that's not canon.
I mean, it supposedly is, but yeah.
But again, this is the conversation that the Stranger Things team's going to have as well, because it's like, do I want to watch this little kids show for Stranger Things, or do I want to just stick with the live action because that's what resonates with me? And maybe the answer is the second part, but I don't know. I would be more than happy to be surprised and you know, throw me something out of left field that I won't expect, that'll make me enjoy the animated series, because I love cartoons. Cartoons are awesome. Just, they gotta be good. But I trust them. Listen, I'm digging a hole for myself. Any casting director for voiceover right now is listening to this episode going like, well, Kevin's never gonna work for the Duffer Brothers.
He doesn't get the job.
Not him.
Scratch off Kevin Andrew Rivera.
I just want it to be good. That's all, man.
Yeah.
Well then, enough digging myself in a hole. Let's dig HBO Max in a hole, shall we? Because HBO Max has changed its name to Max. This comes to us from actually the HBO Max website. This is all the description of what's going on with HBO Max changing to Max. So it says here, HBO Max will become Max on May 23rd, 2023. Here's what you need to know. What is Max? Max brings all the programming that you love from HBO Max together, and favorites from Discovery TV brands, HGTV, the Food Network, TLC, Magnolia Network, and more, all for the same great price. Changes we're making. These are the changes they're making. They're making smarter recommendations, improved performance, easier to sign in and use, profile pin for adult profiles, new hubs including genres. I actually kind of like the pin for adult profiles, but I don't have any kids, so I don't know if that affects me. My dog will not sign into my HBO Max account, I swear. What devices will Max be available on? We anticipate that Max will be available on the same devices as HBO Max. Cool beans. Next up, we got current subscribers. Do I have to do anything as an HBO Max subscriber? You don't need to do anything. On May 23rd, the HBO Max app will become Max. If you have HBO Max installed, one of two things will happen. HBO Max will automatically update to Max, or when you open HBO Max, you'll be prompted to download the Max app. There's so much to read off of here, but like basically, it's starting to talk about the transition of changing to Max. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. Not a fan of the name, per se, but you know,
it's kind of bland.
When I heard Max, I thought Maxie with Goofy and Goofy. What are we doing, Maxie? But like, that's I just don't know if that's what they needed to change. However, I guess I do understand if they wanted to get rid of HBO simply because it's not just HBO that we're seeing on here. If you do HBO Max and you're adding DC Universe stuff and like a bunch of other things, it's not HBO Max. It's Warner Brothers Discovery Max. But that's also a lame name, I suppose, if you do it like that. Could you call it Warner Max? Warner Discovery Max?
WB Max.
WBD Max. WBD Plus.
I don't know.
No. See, maybe so
we're not doing any better. We're just
we're proving to them why it should have just been Max.
well, that's the thing. I get why, because they're mixing now with the Discovery stuff, right? So you can't just label it something that ignores all the Discovery stuff, because the HBO Max is, you want something that's a little more inclusive, I guess, because now that you have all these other IP from the Discovery network or whatever, you want something that's a little more that umbrellas over all that stuff. But the problem is you take something like HBO off of the name. Like HBO is such a well-established kind of branding, very solid branding over the years, as being like, one of the places you go to get good TV, good entertainment. They've made a name for themselves. And so I guess to take the HBO name off of it kind of dilutes it a little bit. And Max, I don't know. It's like, well, yeah, like you said, it'd be like, I don't know, if Disney Plus just started calling themselves Plus. I don't know.
I think Disney had a good idea, though, because they're Disney Plus, but they have Star Wars and Marvel in there as well. So they're not like named anything else. They're not Lucasfilm Plus. They're not Star Wars Plus, right? I mean, they're Disney. They have this umbrella that they live under, and it has all these different categories. Maybe Warner Plus would have been perfect, because
Warner Plus, Warner Max.
Everybody knows what Warner Brothers is, when you hear Discovery, I just think of like the Discovery Channel, and I'm like, I don't want to watch the Discovery Channel. Like, I think the majority of people would pick Warner over Discovery any day. However, Discovery is the thing that owns Warner. So now it's like, what do we do here? Yeah. So Max,
it's fine. It's whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to lose sleep at night over it. I know a lot of people online are just like really upset and up in arms about it. It is what it is. It's still got the same shit there that I was watching that I really enjoy from HBO Max. So I'm not, whatever.
Yeah.
The name is not going to bother me.
Well, so it's also the fact that our accounts will still stay intact, Listen, I don't pay for HBO Max. My brother does, so I use his account.
Mine too. So my brother pays for my HBO Max too. Yeah.
So I'm just, I will say though, I have slowly seen, like, I'm watching this new show right now called Love and Death with Elizabeth Olsen, and great show, by the way. I highly recommend it. And when the show starts, instead of doing HBO Max, it starts with an opening that says Max, welcome to Max.
Yeah.
And so they're
already doing the branding. Yeah.
They're already doing the branding without changing the app just yet, because they're starting to just kind of ease us into it. So now I'm starting to get used to it, but also it's like, it's kind of crazy that there's so much history behind HBO Max. Let's also discuss HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO Max. I mean, like, there were so many different HBO streaming services that now they're changing that third one to a fourth one. Like, there's just so many different things to go off of that. But
well, didn't they get rid of those other apps after a while? They got rid of HBO Go.
Yeah, I think they
Now.
did.
They cleaned it up. I think it's now just HBO Max.
Well, now if they're changing it to Max and they start branding that, I feel like maybe the reason why they're doing it now is because they're like, let's do something so different that people look at it as a new thing, So, have you tried the Max app? What's that? Oh, glad you asked, blah, 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 blah. They won't be asking, wait, isn't that just HBO Go? Wait, isn't that just HBO Now? What's the difference between all?
Yeah.
Now it's just Max, and then it's got all these different options, which is great. So, all right. So listen, now that I've talked myself into it, I see the good sides and I see the bad sides, but like, we just gotta wait around and see how it ends up performing.
It's gonna be fine, Kevin. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be
as long as I know where I can go watch Last Week Tonight and The Last of Us, and I'm good. As long as I find where all Sopranos. I mean, come on, all those shows are still gonna be there. All that stuff you loved, still gonna be there.
Yeah.
I don't know. This thing,
it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, though.
I get it, but this is one of those things I'm not that upset about. It's like, whatever. I don't know. As long as it's all the shit that I watch is still there.
It's just replacement after replacement. But you know who's not getting replaced, Raul? Is Morana Bakarin and Stefan Kapicic. Those, I butchered their names horribly right now. They're returning for Deadpool 3 as Vanessa and Colossus. Did you like that segue, Raul? That was a pretty good.
That was something.
Hey, who said that? What? So we got Ryan Reynolds. This comes to us from Deadline. Ryan Reynolds is looking to get the gang back together for Marvel's new Deadpool sequel, as Morena Baccarin and Stefan Kapicic are set to reprise their roles as Vanessa and Colossus, respectively. Reynolds recently announced Karen Sony and Leslie Uggams would return as Dopinder and Blind Owl. Dude, my reading is just not working today. That's all right. Let me finish this up. Who, like Vanessa and Colossus, appeared in the first two films. They joined Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and the newest cast additions, Emma Corrin and Matthew McFadyen. Sean Levy is on board to direct, with Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese returning to pen the script along with Zeb Wells. Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux-Longlin, you made that name up, that's not a real name, wrote a previous draft. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige will join Reynolds and Levy as producers. Yeah, so listen, that's pretty cool stuff. And I want to throw out my theory to you, Raul. Okay, so I totally get the whole Colossus showing up, and I'm actually pretty happy about it, because that's like comic book accurate Colossus there.
He's probably the best Colossus we've seen yet.
If he were to show up in the new MCU or in this current MCU timeline, that'd be great. Maybe don't grab him from the Deadpool timeline and throw him into this new MCU timeline. Maybe he's already there. Maybe there's another iteration of him in the MCU, and when Deadpool finds himself there, he sees him there, right? And it's like, oh boy, you haven't changed a bit, my old friend. And then he's like, Deadpool, I do not understand what you are saying to me. Who are you?
Who are you? I've never seen you before. Yeah.
But then my second thing I had in mind, here's a little theory for you, Raul, is Vanessa is not really Vanessa in Deadpool 3. She is Lady Death.
Oh.
Because think about it. Okay. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Deadpool. So Wade Wilson is in love with Vanessa, which is great. However, once he falls in love with someone, I feel like he can't really go anywhere with his story when it comes to like love life and stuff like that. So if he shows up in the MCU and Vanessa's not there, and he kind of has a near-death experience and realizes that Vanessa in this timeline is Lady Death, then he will love to die on occasions so that he can see the love of his life again, who's taking care of the underworld or something,
so we're flipping it instead of, because that was the whole reason Thanos was doing everything he was doing in the comics, was because he wanted to court death, Lady Death. So we're just flipping it around. Instead of that, it's Deadpool is Lady Death's boyfriend.
Well, actually, in the comics, in some of the comics, Deadpool does have a romantic relationship with Lady Death, but Thanos is his direct competition, jokingly. So there's always this back and forth thing. It'd be kind of cool to see Vanessa's Lady Death, and then she mentioned something along the lines of, oh yeah, Thanos was here earlier, and he thought I was really cute, so I don't know, are you impressed? Like, oh man, that's cool, you know?
Hey, that would be cool. You're going on quite a theory there.
That's my theory.
No, I think that's really neat. I think, that is man, we're getting the whole gang back together pretty much. I am curious to see how this is gonna, it would be interesting, since it's gonna be packed. We've already got Hugh Jackman coming back. There are whispers and rumors about maybe seeing Patrick Stewart and even Ian McKellen coming back, although I'm not sure how true that is, but
rumors.
If that's true, this is going to be a packed movie. And then you've got everybody back from the older movies. I'm curious to see Colossus interact with the Hugh Jackman Wolverine. Like, is Wolverine going to be confused? Like, you're Colossus? Why do you look different? You know?
Oh yeah,
you're not the Colossus I know. Why?
I didn't even think of that.
You're like 3 feet taller. What's up with that? I wonder what that's like. Does he already know? Has he already seen a Colossus like this before? We don't even know which version of Wolverine we're gonna see.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe he doesn't even blink an eyelash. You know, doesn't even. So this should be cool. And we're getting all these other. Yeah, Leslie Uggams is back. We've got Dopinder back. I don't know. I'd like to think it's all the same versions of these characters coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, if that is the case,
what you're saying,
if that is the case, then I'd be totally happy with that too, to be honest. I didn't even think about the idea of Colossus interacting with other MCU characters or Hugh Jackman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, man, because I think, what was it, X-Men 3 or X-Men Last Days? Oh my gosh, am I getting
Stand.
The Last Stand? Can you see that can you tell that I need to watch The Last Stand again? It's been a long time.
No, you don't. You don't need to watch The Last Stand again. You're good. You didn't miss out on much.
There's the sequence where Colossus from that X-Men movie does like the Wolverine chuck, where he like spins and
the fastball special, baby.
The fastball special. Now you can actually do it with an actual comic accurate Colossus.
Oh my God, I just thought of that. Oh, they have to do a fastball special in this movie. That'd
be incredible with Hugh Jackman.
And with things like the action stylings and technology being more advanced now, it would look super cool.
It would look so cool. Are you kidding? That'd be so dope.
To see another fastball special.
I'm just excited about this Deadpool 3 stuff going on, man, because I think, we just made it past phase 4, right? Now we're in phase 5. And I'm just really excited because now that we got it out of the way, like phase 5 looks like it's very promising and it's got some really cool projects up ahead. Maybe Deadpool 3 will show up in the beginning of phase 6. I don't know.
We still don't know where in the timeline Deadpool 3 is gonna show up. Yeah.
I'm just dying to see those ads, dude. Whenever I see any marketing for Deadpool 3, it's gonna be incredible.
The marketing campaign is gonna be so good. I'm so looking forward to the marketing campaign on this.
Oh yeah, but also the actress who plays Vanessa and the guy who plays Colossus.
Yes, let's talk about them because this is what the article's about.
It's weird because I've barely seen them in anything else now. Like I feel like I only know them through this franchise, right? And I hope that they can carry, and I hope it's not like we're showing up just for this movie because we're in the Deadpool universe, and then he flings over to the MCU, and now we're never going to see them again.
Yeah,
because that'd be kind of a bummer,
Well, Morena Baccarin, I've seen her. The only other things I've seen her in were the Gotham show.
Oh yeah,
she was in. If you watch Gotham, she was in that. But yeah, I haven't really seen her in much other than that. And then, of course, like the Firefly, or Firefly.
Oh, that's
Serenity.
right. God, but that was like wasn't that?
That was ages ago. That was ages.
2006 or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My God, that's what blew up Nathan Fillion's career, right?
That's right. Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk. Yeah.
Alan Tudyk. That's right.
Joss Whedon, although he had worked on Buffy before then. But anyway, yeah. So Morena Baccarin, I hadn't seen her in much either, and I think I'm happy to see them. Morena Baccarin, I was kind of hoping she would be back because I feel like her and Wade's chemistry is like one of the strongest relationships I've seen in a superhero movie in quite some time.
Agreed.
Is Wade and Vanessa's relationship, and they are both on the same page. Their crazy matches each other. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie, seeing their relationship specifically. So it's nice to know that we'll get to see her back and get to see her and Wade have those moments again. Yeah. And of course, Colossus. This is like I said, this is my favorite iteration of Colossus in any X-Men anything on screen. It's just so funny, him and Deadpool back and forth. I love their banter and just the all the him being like the straight-laced kind of by the book guy, and then Deadpool giving him a bunch of shit. I mean, I just love the dynamic, and I'm happy to see him again too. Like I say, I'm curious to see how these people will all interact now with this new circumstance of bringing Hugh Jackman in as Wolverine. How is everybody gonna? What's the dynamic going to be like?
Also, like, multiverse just kind of really does give us every possibility ever. So, like, it is nice to see that there's a chance that we're going to see even more cool stuff from the X-Men universe soon, hopefully. I don't know. But also, I'll throw in that the fact that Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese are returning as the writers, it makes sense that Vanessa and Colossus would return because, the writers are like, hey, can we make whatever we want happen? Yes, and you can make it R-rated still. Awesome. So freaking cool. However, I don't know if you heard about this yet, Raul, but the F-bomb has already been thrown in to a current Marvel movie for the MCU. So now Guardians of the Galaxy has taken that title Unless you count Deadpool as an MCU
I was
film
gonna
now.
say, if you're gonna retroactively count all the Deadpool movies now as part of the MCU, then technically Deadpool did it first.
You gotta technically do it different. 2016. But MCU canon, like officially made by Kevin Feige speaking, then yes, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is supposedly gonna have the first F-bomb, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it all counts. But why don't we move on to our next topic here? Raul, I'm gonna let you read this one because I feel like my brain is just not working today with these words.
Take a break, Kevin. Take a break. All right, listen, guys. Here we go. So our next topic here: RoboCop, Legally Blonde, and other MGM titles to get an Amazon reboot. Now we get a little quote here from Deadline. MGM's extensive film and TV catalog built over the past century was the main driver behind Amazon's $8.5 billion acquisition of the storied Hollywood studio. For the past year, since the deal closed in March 2022, Amazon Studios has been sifting through MGM's library, identifying about a dozen initial titles for film and or TV development. It continues, we hear A-list creative auspices have reached out to inquire about adapting MGM IP, which they are fans of. Additionally, Amazon Studios has been leaning on its own roster of talent for some projects. Each title is being approached differently. Some are being steered towards film, some toward TV, and some big ones are getting both movie and TV treatment. For instance, Amazon Studios is in active early conversation on Legally Blonde, both for a movie and a potential TV series, sources said. There already had been on and off efforts to get a third Legally Blonde film off the ground for the past 5 years. RoboCop also is being talked about for both film and TV, with a TV show possibly first, Deadline hears. Additionally, Amazon Studios is actively developing a TV series based on Fame, Barbershop, and The Magnificent Seven, sources said. There are also discussions about a Thomas Crown Affair movie, as well as a Pink Panther movie, which could be animated, sources said. A Poltergeist project. Really? Poltergeist rebooted? No. Okay. Poltergeist project is also a possibility down the road, we hear. They say. So we've heard, as they say. Yeah, this is Deadline. A lot of stuff they're hearing blowing in the wind. A lot of birds on their shoulder giving them secrets. Anyway, so yeah, this is really interesting. So we're seeing all these things that they're looking at all these titles to see what can we squeeze out of these titles still that we have access to now. Legally Blonde, I think those first two movies are pretty fun. I like the first one especially. I think it's really funny. I remember seeing it recently, and I've forgotten how funny the first Legally Blonde is. Poltergeist, man, I don't know. Poltergeist is like really close to my heart. I don't want to see. I didn't even bother seeing the Poltergeist remake. And I heard that was terrible. So
I didn't even know there was a remake.
There was a remake like back in 2015, 16, something like that. And It was supposedly terrible. I didn't even watch it, but I don't know. Just leave Poltergeist alone. Although I don't know. If you do it well, I guess it's fine. Do you have any feelings about any of these things that they're talking about being rebooted?
I think it makes sense for Amazon to want to acquire more projects and put them out there, just because, I mean, dude, they just got the MGM freaking library, the whole TV, movie and TV catalog. That's kind of nuts. Of course you'd want to find something to do with that. You're literally sitting on a gold mine right now. Legally Blonde, freaking Thomas Crown Affair, Pink Panther. Come on. I mean, that's awesome. Also, I will say this. Don't quote me on this. Maybe I have. I don't think I've seen RoboCop, the first RoboCop movie.
Really?
I'd seen the remake because I saw the black suit when I was younger. Because I think the remake came out in like 2013 or something like that, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And I thought it looked really cool. And then I watched it and I was like, this is not that impressive. However, maybe I have seen it. I can't remember if I've seen it or not.
Okay.
I'm going to assume I haven't seen it because I barely remember the movie at all, period.
Okay.
I think I've seen clips, and I don't think I've ever seen the movie. But that sounds really cool to see a remake of RoboCop and see that come to life. Heck, they're making a video game about RoboCop. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it looks really exciting, and the gameplay looks like you're inside the RoboCop suit. So, like, you walk like RoboCop as well. However, I think nowadays RoboCop would have to be a lot cooler than what he looked like back then. But not saying he wasn't cool. He was cool.
What are you saying,
know.
Kevin? That RoboCop soup is timeless.
I just think if I saw a cop chasing after me and he was walking like a robot, like RoboCop does, I'd be like, I mean, listen, that's not really. All right, what?
Slow down. I must apprehend you. You are going too fast.
You are going to jail, good man. Boom, boom. It's shoot. He tells me he's going to arrest me, then he shoots me. That's how they do it. But no, I think that'd be really cool to see a new RoboCop kind of thing. I wouldn't mind seeing it as a TV series because I think, there's already been a remake for the movie stuff, Put it on TV, put it on Amazon streaming service. So that way people have reasons to go to the streaming service.
I do think they did do a RoboCop series at one point on TV, but I don't think it was good. I want to say they may have done a RoboCop TV series back in late 80s, early 90s, something like that. But
if it was bad, then it was probably so unmemorable that I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to. That sounds right to me. But
now, let me talk about this one though, The Magnificent Seven. Now, I remember seeing the movie with Chris Pratt in it because they did like an older, like a newer version of it. And, it was cool. It was a good movie, but I would love to see it as a TV series because that actually sounds like you could flesh out more of the cowboys and, do like an old Western, but like an eight episode series and based on, get the writers from Yellowstone to work on it. Boom, you're done. That'd be golden. I would watch the heck out of that. Are you kidding?
Have you seen the original Magnificent Seven?
I have not seen the original Magnificent Seven, but
have you seen the Seven Samurai?
Yes, it's basically the Seven Samurai, right?
It's basically the Seven Samurai
with cowboys.
Exactly, it's the Seven Samurai, but with cowboys. Exactly.
Because the director for Magnificent Seven originally was inspired by Seven Samurai, right?
Correct.
He was like, "Oh, why don't we just do that?"
Yeah.
But also, like, that's. I've always heard that there's always been a connection between samurais and cowboys in American culture. Like we've always based it off of samurai because it is technically the same thing. The lone stranger walking through the desert as a Ronin, trying to do his thing and save other people in different villages and towns. Like,
there's a lot of similarities between the two genres. Yeah, it doesn't take much to jump from one to the other.
Right. Which that's pretty cool. But also, what was the other one here? There was Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde, I like the idea of that coming back as well. You'd have to do something with Reese Witherspoon, because she is legally blonde.
I'm sure that's their goal. Ideally, they'd probably like to get Reese Witherspoon to come back and do something, showing what's Elle Woods been up to lately in her older years.
But would you want her to come back as Elle Woods, or would you want her to come back as a cameo? Like pull like a Wednesday kind of thing?
Oh, it depends on what they want to do. Do they want to focus on Elle, or do they want to focus on somebody else? And then, do like a cameo kind of thing. I don't know.
I would say get Tina Fey to come in and write and direct, and then get her to write and direct Legally Blonde, a TV series, and just pull a Tim Burton like Wednesday with Jenna Ortega and just make that a thing. And then have Elle Woods, with Reese Witherspoon as like the actual villain who's like another lawyer who isn't Elle Woods, she's somebody else, but like she's trying to frame Elle while she's still in school or something, like for doing some murder case, and now she's got to save herself. I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Who knows? I think the first instinct would probably be to try and do some kind of continuation.
Yeah.
And then if they can't do that, then they'll
nostalgia for sure.
Maybe they'll settle for a complete reboot after that. But I feel like they'll probably want to try a continuation.
Well, Reese Witherspoon is like a huge movie producer now. Like she's done
movie and TV. I mean, she would probably executive produce it at the least.
Yeah, for sure. So I think if she wanted to strike a deal with Amazon, I'm pretty sure they'll pay her whatever she wants because Amazon has so much money. Mm-hmm. Amazon has so much money that they can buy Disney over 3 times at this point. It's kind of nuts, but it is what it is.
Is it like that's like scientific fact?
Something like that. That's what my mom told me. But
anyway. They make so much freaking money. It's huge. Amazon.
It also just gives me an excuse to go back to Amazon because I feel like I haven't seen as much content on Amazon that I'd want to stream and watch. But
No.
now, I don't know, some
Now,
RoboCop, some Pink
yeah,
Panther.
I do feel like Amazon is slowly, for the past few years, it has slowly been positioning its chess pieces on the board in a way that we're going to see something. They're like acquiring things, and God, what was it we were just talking about the other? Like, was it the Isn't the Tomb Raider reboot? Isn't that they're gonna do something on Amazon with that? Amazon's gonna do stuff with the Spider-Man
Right, that's right.
IP. There's a whole bunch of stuff lately that Amazon has been acquiring and making deals with, and slowly positioning themselves to put out some content that a lot of people are gonna want to watch, and it's gonna draw a lot of people more to Amazon Prime.
Mm.
So yeah, they're making big moves here. So
Which is for the best. They definitely got to start making some changes around here because I don't know. I think the whole streaming war thing has kind of shifted, and there's a lot of problems with streaming. I think a lot of companies they're not making the money they want to be making with their streaming companies because they're spending more than they can make. But I don't know. I'm just speaking from my booty hole. I hope maybe that's not true at all. Maybe people are making all the monies, but they got to find a way to market themselves better, and maybe this is a really, really great step in the right direction. But speaking of making money, we got to talk about the Super Mario Bros. Movie becoming the highest grossing video game movie of all time. So this comes to us from Collider. They write, Mamma mia! Illumination and Nintendo continue to soar through box office.
Don't do the whole quote like that. I'm stopping you right there.
Okay. Illumination.
Please don't. Go ahead.
Oh no! So, Illumination and Nintendo continue to soar through box office milestones with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, as the animated feature has now crossed the $900 million mark at the box office right now, the global box office. As shown over the weekend, the film was demonstrated incredible endurance with viewers, continuing to beat projections even after 21 days in theaters. With this latest mark crossed, the next target for Universal will be to covet $1 billion mark with Mario, and company should easily reach by next week. It continues to say, excuse me for a second, the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie hasn't been relegated to the theaters earlier. Earlier this month, Bowser's Jack Black romantic ballad Peaches cracked Billboard's Hot 100, further showcasing how inescapable Mario fever has been. What's helped this take on the plumber's adventures succeed where 1993's adaptation failed has been the faithfulness to the games, with a myriad of references for long-time fans to see while watching. There's potential to expand from here too, as the film could give away to other Nintendo adaptations as well as sequels and spin-offs spotlighting characters like Donkey Kong. Also, I wanted to pull up this picture of Wiki, which I know you guys are listening to this as a podcast, so you can't see the picture, but I wanted to pull up the list of highest grossing video game film adaptions ever in Hollywood. Now, in first place right now is the Super Mario Bros. Movie, because it is the #1 highest grossing video game film of all time. And it made, at the moment, this is the numbers I got based on yesterday's numbers, $909 million, 848,000. So we are over the $900 million mark. In second place is, I'll let you all you listeners take a second to think about which one it could be. What could it possibly be? That's right, it's Warcraft, and Warcraft has only
That's crazy.
over $400 million. They've made $439 million as their max.
I never would have expected Warcraft would be the one in second place.
In third place, man, I mean, yeah, no, Warcraft, I think they really hyped it up. Like, they really were trying to get this thing to be the biggest thing it could possibly be. I've never seen it. I've never seen Warcraft. I got to hit up our buddy Kevin, who also adores World of Warcraft, and watch it with him. But we'll have to check that out. But number 3 is Pokemon Detective Pikachu at 433 million. Rampage, 428 million. Sonic the Hedgehog in the 400s. Uncharted in the 400s. The Angry Birds movie in the 300s. Prince of Persia, 300. Sonic the Hedgehog, 300. Resident Evil, the final chapter, 300. So that's a huge leap, Raul. That's kind of insane, man. Yeah. That's an extra $500 million that Super Mario Bros. Has gained. How crazy is that?
Yeah, from Warcraft to Super Mario Bros., you went from 439 to 909, right? 909 million. Jesus, that is quite a gap.
And that's animated, right? So the Super Mario Bros. Is an animated movie. So technically the second most highest grossing video game animated film is the Angry Birds movie, which is kind of nuts.
But that was, 352 million. Oh my God.
So that's an even bigger gap if you're just counting the animated films. So that's a really big deal. And, there's something that this article said where, it's the myriad of references and the faithfulness to the games that made it so successful. I agree. I think Nintendo, they had every bit of control over what they wanted to present for this movie. They knew how to hype it up with their Nintendo Directs that they put up on YouTube on occasion. The idea of Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy and Jack Black and Seth Rogen all coming together to play these characters also piqued a lot of people's interest. I had my older roommate.
Both good and bad.
my old roommate was like, she watched the trailer. She's not a movie fan. She's not a video game fan. She's also not a voice actor in any sense of the word. She saw the trailer and heard Chris Pratt's voice and went, "Oh my God, is that Chris Pratt? We have to go. We got to go watch it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, you can tell that for some, I'm going to say normies, because for the normies, people see Chris Pratt and these other actors and they think, "Oh my God, we got to go watch it." Jack Black did really, really well. Also, I went to watch this movie twice. Raul, you went to see this movie yesterday. Do you have some
a couple nights ago? Yeah, a couple nights ago, actually. Yeah, look, we have been talking. You've heard us talk before about our feelings on the voice casting and all that stuff. And you know what? I have to put that aside because I really did enjoy this movie.
Hey.
I thought it was a lot of fun. You just kind of accept it really quick after a while. And they do make kind of a joke about, the Mario voice and all that stuff at the very beginning of the movie. So it kind of puts it to bed like, all right, fine. I'll just sit and enjoy the rest of the movie because you've addressed this thing. The movie very quickly sweeps you up and gets you invested. And you just have a great time right off the bat. That honestly, whatever issues you might have with the voice casting or whatever, it just kind of, that gets kind of moved to the bottom of the concern pile. And I just got swept up in the fun and just how nostalgic I got watching the movie. I mean, the music cues and even the classic like sound effects from all the games, which is I sat through this movie with a grin, like a shit-eating grin from ear to ear almost the entire time. I had so much fun. And it's a lot of the, and there are like some people in the cast that stand out, like Jack Black as Bowser. Like, oh my God, like he's great. And of course, he's got the song that almost everybody heard by now. Yeah.
It's so good.
So he does a great job. And the movie itself, I will say, it is a little light on plot.
It is
just a little bit. It's very kind of very bare minimum.
It's so simple to the point.
Yes, and that's one of the few things that if I had to criticize it, I'd say it wasn't very strong plot wise, but it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And if you love Mario, you love all these video games, you're gonna love being in the world that they set up. And it's funny, and the action's really cool, and there's a lot of great Easter eggs and a lot of things to like.
Dude, the action sequences I think was my favorite part of the movie, because especially in the third act, I won't spoil anything for all you people who haven't seen it yet, but it's so freaking cool. But also, what was I about to say? I'm blanking out here. Hold on. No, I mean the plot line. I feel like it's. You could tell this movie's aimed for kids. And so like families will want to go watch this over and over again. It doesn't feel like the movie's lecturing you. So that's another really nice thing. It's just, you go in there, you turn off your brain and you have a fun time, which I know a lot of people hate hearing that. Oh, I don't want to have to turn off my brain. Oh, that shouldn't let me accept the movie for what it's supposed to be. Like, well, there are some movies that are literally made for you to turn off your brain and just relax and not care about how dumb it could be, Not saying this movie was dumb. I'm just saying, all right, I'm digging my hole again. Here we go.
Here come the YouTube commenters.
Here they go. I'm like,
they're gonna let them have it. Yeah, old news.
Yeah, we already knew this, man.
This news story came out weeks ago.
Oh man, but no, I'm happy to see that this kind of movie is this successful, because also it clearly is telling Nintendo, hey, you guys should make more of these. So we're definitely getting a sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and maybe they'll call it Mario Land 2 or something like that. I don't know.
Well, we do get a little, I'm not going to spoil it, but we do get a little hint at something that might lead to seeing some new characters later on, which I got pretty excited.
Yeah, me too. So, you know, they're definitely trying to stretch it out, you know, which I'm okay with. Maybe a Super Smash Brothers cinematic universe type thing, you know? Good chance, you know? I want to see a Legend of Zelda movie. I want to see a Metroid movie. I want to see maybe more Pokemon. I don't know. How about you, Raul? How do you feel about that?
Or just like you're talking about just the entire universe
of what kind of expansion would you want to see?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to see too much expansion, because I feel like a lot of this stuff should be its own kind of thing. Like, you know, well, like Pokemon, we've already got like the Detective Pikachu as far as like Pokemon in films go. Like, let's keep that separate. But it would be interesting, like maybe for like one movie to do like a crossover of all this stuff. Super Smash Brothers movie. But for the most part, keep everything else separate. I know with Super Mario, we do have like an innate crossover between Mario and Donkey Kong, but that's fine because they've got so much of a history in the video games already together. But yeah, like I don't want to see like the next Super Mario and then we see like Link from Legends of Zelda show up.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see that.
That's something I very much want to see kept in its own separate pocket universe, you know?
Give us the MCU, except they're not allowed to interact with other MCU characters in their own movies.
Like I said, you could relegate it to like one movie. Like, all right, guys, we've seen Link's films, we've seen the Mario films, we've seen all this. We're going to announce Super Smash Brothers movie, and then you do it one time. Although if it's successful, they're not going to just do it one time. I don't know what you do. I don't know.
Raul,
I don't get paid to make these decisions. What?
F-Zero, an F-Zero movie.
F-Zero.
That'd be sick. You know F-Zero? You know Captain Falcon? You know? It's a you don't know Captain Falcon? Oh my, well, this is a movie episode thing, a movie podcast, so it's okay if you don't know video game characters. But
all right.
F-Zero, you get a racing thing going on, like a huge, like, just imagine Need for Speed, like ultra future tech racing kind of movie. That'd be sick. Everybody would love that. And then you get the original 8 characters from Super Smash Bros. On the 64 and get them to communicate first and fight each other. That'd be super epic. You got Ness, you got Luigi, you got Captain Falcon, you got Yoshi, you got Kirby. Oh, a Kirby movie would be pretty cool. All right, listen. All I'm trying to say is that this movie making $900 million and possibly $1 billion in the next weekend or so, that's a really big deal. And, you know, it's something to look forward to. Hopefully you listeners are a big fan of the Mario Bros. Movie as well. But you know what? We got other stuff to talk about here. You know what's even better than Nintendo, Raul? So much better than Nintendo, clearly. You know, I'll tell you what it is. It's a Twilight TV series that's in development.
No, it's not.
Oh, isn't that the greatest thing?
That's not the greatest thing ever.
So this comes to us from Variety. A Twilight TV series adaptation is in very early development at Lionsgate TV. Variety has confirmed with sources. The series would be based on the Stephenie Meyer's book series of the same name, which was previously adapted into a film franchise. At this time, there is no writer or a network streaming service attached to the project. According to sources, Wick Godfrey and Eric Feig are attached to executive produce. Feig is a former co-president of Lionsgate Motion Picture Group, while Godfrey and his Temple Hill production company produced the 5 Twilight films. Myers is also expected to be involved in any potential series. This is now the second recent example of a studio attempting to mount a TV version of a beloved book franchise that has previously been adapted for film. Warner Bros. Discovery recently announced that they have a decade-long plan to turn the 7 Harry Potter books into a TV series, with each season to focus on one book in the story. Yeah, I mean, listen, I I feel like I could dive into this like crazy, but at the end of the day, that last paragraph kind of made it for me. They're just copying Harry Potter, and I think
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
they're trying to see what works, and but here's my only thought is
Aragon. They're doing it with Aragon too. Remember?
they are. Oh, that's right. We did report that.
We reported this on this months ago.
Oh my God! Wait a minute.
They're doing this with Aragon also on Disney Plus.
Also, let me go back to the Super Mario Bros. Thing because I almost forgot to mention this one thing. Nintendo, we reported during our first few episodes that Nintendo bought an animation studio for themselves. So I wonder how that's going to work out with Illumination and Nintendo now that Illumination made this much money from Nintendo.
Right.
Are they going to just let Nintendo do their own thing now? No, of course not. Anyways, back to Twilight TV series. So Aragon as well. My God. The only thing I have of concern for that is that I wish we could just come up with new ideas. You know, for Harry Potter, I wanted to see more Harry Potter ideas. Like, give us the story of Godric Gryffindor and Salazar Slytherin, how they began Hogwarts. Tell us the story of how Daniel Radcliffe's Harry Potter becomes an Auror outside of school. Tell us the story of Lily Potter and when the Potter Puppet Pal kids were all friends and children. Same thing with Twilight. Twilight, I don't. Well, to be honest, Raul, I don't know what the heck they're going to do with Twilight if they wanted to continue it. But I guess maybe they're doing this TV series because they want to be true to the source material and just do it word for word. I don't know, Raul. What do you think about all this?
Hold on, Kevin. I just found some breaking news here. It looks like Maze Runner, Divergent series, Hunger Games, and Ender's Game are all being made into TV series now.
Is this a prank? Are you joking? Are you joking with me right now?
it's if it hasn't happened yet, it's gonna happen. Just
oh my God,
we're gonna get all these YA movie series that were based on books. You wait. They're all gonna come back and they're all gonna make them into TV shows. I'm telling you, man, it's happening. It's gonna happen. We're gonna hear it. But what you watch? Maze Runner, Divergent, Hunger Games, Ender's Game. It's coming back, man.
All right, okay. This is the one connection that I'm gonna make. The Last of Us. So I played the video game, and by played it, I mean I just watched someone play it on YouTube because I was too scared to play the whole thing myself. However, I noticed that the storytelling in the Last of Us video game compared to the TV series had some cool things with the TV series. The TV series did basically word for word, shot for shot of the video game. However, they added on top of that and gave us more things that could flesh out the characters, which was really cool, and flesh out the world of The Last of Us. Perhaps they can do that again with a Harry Potter series or a Twilight series, and Maze Runner. I don't even know. Maze Runner,
Ender's Game, Maze Runner, Divergent.
You made all those names up. I know it.
Did I not?
No, but like that's the thing is,
yeah.
I guess. Okay, all right, okay. Let me back up even more for a second.
You need to take a break. Take a second, Kevin. Take a breath.
There's a lot of backing ups right now. When I read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince when I was in high school, and recently I actually just watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince after years of not seeing the movie. But I still remember the books, and I still remember what I had read in the book because it was such a cool experience, and I felt like they were missing a couple of things in the movie. So yes, it would be kind of nice to see those things added in a whole season. However, would it really be necessary? Do we need it? Do we need this, Raul?
I'm a little hesitant just on the Harry Potter one. I mean, we've already talked about it last episode, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like all these series, especially Harry Potter, because it was so successful, like it had its thing. Like, why are we going back? Twilight had its success. Why are we going back? I can see like the other things that, like Ender's Game, like that did not do well. Like they attempted to make that into a series of films, but only the first one came out, and that kind of kicked the bucket right off the bat. I can see something like that. Okay, let's do that. Let's make that into a series so that we can really have the time to really focus in on that,
right?
And really do, have the potential to make that better. than trying to make it into a film series. Things that didn't do well the first time, sure, I can see going back and trying to do that as a TV series, but like Harry Potter, Twilight, they both had their huge successes as a film series so soon. Why going back so soon after? When was the last Twilight movie? When did that come out?
Breaking Dawn Part 2 in 2016.
I love how you immediately knew what the full title.
Shut up! It's not true.
You didn't even have to think about that.
Is it Breaking Dawn Part 2 or is it Breaking Dawn Part 3? No, it's Breaking Dawn Part 2, I think. 2012. What? It came out in 2012.
2012.
I'm so old.
Yeah, they're so soon after the films. I don't know. This is not. That's just my take on it. I feel like not focusing on these series that were so successful. Go back and try if this seems to be the trend that's coming up is, well, let's just take all the YA film series that started off as YA books and let's just convert them into a YA TV series. If that's what we're going to do, if that's what we're going to be doing, let's focus on the ones that weren't successful the first time around, like Ender's Game, for example.
Yeah, see, that makes more sense to me. I don't know.
Or Aragon, like they're going to do with Aragon. They're going to do that. Because Aragon didn't really get very far as a film series.
I'd been thinking a lot about how when they first announced Lord of the Rings to be coming into Amazon as a TV series, I thought they were going to do what they're doing to these books, where they're going to do each book as a season. Clearly, they didn't do that because now instead it's all about Middle Earth's past and centuries before the events of Frodo and everybody else that's in that group, which I really appreciated. So, man, I don't know. I just think it's a missed opportunity. Also, here's the last thing: all the people that grew up watching Twilight, all the people that grew up watching Harry Potter, all the people that grew up watching Ender's Game or whatever they're called, they grew up already. We're already adults, and these stories are for teenagers for the most part, So are we okay with just going from the darkest time of the ending of the story back to being kids again? We're going to have to rewatch the beginning of these books again. Harry Potter, we're going to go back to Happy Christmas, Ron. Happy Christmas, Harry. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, you guys are like 12. What's up with this? Oh man. I remember when you guys were killing Voldemort and whatnot. Come on, this is like way cooler in the future. Anyways, I digress. I guess maybe Twilight is different because they won't have the Kristen Stewart playing Bella. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't know if it had anything to do with Kristen Stewart. Just the style of those movies, and those movies were very much marketed to a particular audience. And I'm wondering if they do it, they redo this as a TV show. Will this be marketed towards a broader audience, maybe beyond just like teenagers and that? Like how do you, is the tone going to be the same? Is it going to be different? Like what kind of audience are they going to try go broader? Like what are they going to kind of audience are they going to attract? That I'm curious about. Like if you're going to do it again, what are you going to do differently? And that's the same question I had about.
Make Edward Cullen hot. That's what you got to do, because I'm sorry, but Robert Pattinson, he just had a big old forehead.
Ooh, here comes the hate.
Listen, I was Team Jacob from the beginning, all right?
Here comes the YouTube hate. Here it comes.
I love that.
All you guys listening on YouTube, Kevin's address is 58427.
44572 12. That's my address. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I have cookies. Anyways, let's move on from this topic because I think we're beating it like a dead vampire.
Oh,
I'll see myself out. Okay, so we got Alec Baldwin charges have been. Well, let's see. What did I write here? Alec Baldwin charges has reached a verdict. Raul, why don't you read this? Because clearly my brain is exploding.
All right. So here's from Deadline. The New Mexico criminal case against Alec Baldwin for the on-set death of Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins on October 21st, 2021 is officially closed. Following yesterday's exclusive by Deadline, the involuntary manslaughter charges against the star producer of the indie western would be dropped. Special prosecutors Carrie Morrissey and Jason Lewis officially filed the paperwork on Friday to bring the matter to a conclusion for now. New facts. New facts were revealed that demand further investigation and forensic analysis, which cannot be completed before the May 3rd, 2023 preliminary hearing, the recently appointed duo said today. The case is dismissed without prejudice, and the investigation is active and ongoing. To that end, while Baldwin will not face charges for now, without prejudice, quote unquote, means the matter can be reopened at any time. Morrissey and Lewis made that point clear Thursday in a statement on the shifting circumstances of the case. The decision does not absolve Mr. Baldwin of criminal culpability, and charges may be refiled, they said. So this is very interesting. So it's kind of like, it's almost like we're going to put a pin in this.
Yeah.
And this needs a little more looking into.
Charges were dropped? Question mark.
Right. It's like, saying. They're dropped, but we can pick them back up again if we want to. So,
but the court case that they've had is over. Like he no longer has to go to this court anymore to talk about this problem.
Correct.
Unless someone wants to open it up again.
Right. Which it looks like maybe that's probably what they're going to try and do it says they're going to try and look for more solid evidence, I guess, about things.
Yeah.
And there's a potential for it to be brought all back up again.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about all this, Kevin?
I mean, listen, man, like this has been going on for months. We've been reporting this since it started. So it's kind of nice to know that there's actually a conclusion, sort of, but it's not as satisfying as people would hope it would be.
Because
I don't know, there's a lot of people who I've heard online who are just saying he's guilty, go to jail. Why do the rich always get away with it? The whole argument of the rich always get away with it is something that kind of sticks to a lot of people's minds right now once this announcement came out. But like, you know, when you look at the facts, literally it says that they couldn't do the forensic analysis on time, so they can't continue this court case and bring the new evidence until that's done. I mean, there's nothing else you can do about it.
That's a totally valid reason. I mean, you don't want to just rush through this. You want everything to be thoroughly investigated and presented so that you have something to bring to these hearings that, can inform, a trial of jurors, a group of jurors and things like that. People who
will make a fair trial.
Yeah. So this is very understandable that this needs to be looked into more, I guess.
Yeah. So, that's, sad to say, I don't really have much to say about this. I know we made this one of our main topics, but listen, we've talked you guys' ears off about Twilight already. So why don't we make this topic a quicker one, and at least now you guys know that Alec Baldwin, the court case is over for him. However, it could still open up at any minute. It does bring up the conversation of the whole, should guns be used in movie sets? And I'm glad to see that since this whole thing even happened, there's been plenty of movies that have been working. I think John Wick 4, actually, they didn't have real guns on set. They only had they CGI'd the blank shots. So a lot of, you could tell this situation has affected a lot of Hollywood already. And we can only hope that it continues to help us learn as Hollywood creators who make these movies. And also fans understand and are becoming more understanding of what these situations can do to our actors and cinematographers and anybody behind the scenes. And also, this freaking story tells us, hey, we should hire good armorers and make sure people are union contractually obligated to make sure everybody's safe. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's basically it about that with that Gunn. But speaking of Gunn,
I knew you were going in that direction.
Yes. We've got the James Gunn news here. James Gunn says Marvel versus DC film is possible. Raul, why don't you read this one since you're the one that picked this one out as well?
All right. In remarks to fans asking, this from Deadline, in remarks to fans asking about the possibility of a Marvel and DC crossover, this is what Gunn said. Gunn, who now heads DC Studios Well, actually, no, this is what Deadline said. Gunn, who now heads DC Studios with Peter Safran, allowed that it's not far-fetched to see those sort of team-ups become films someday. In their latest issue, Empire quoted Gunn's take on the matches as a definite maybe. I'm certain that it's more likely now that I'm in charge at DC, Gunn told the magazine. Who knows? However, that's many years away, though. I think we have to establish what we're doing at DC first. I would be lying to say that we haven't discussed it, but all discussions have been very, very light and fun.
Okay.
All right. So this is really interesting. I mean, this is something that I don't know. At least for me, this wasn't even close to being on my mind right now at any point in the near future. He does, however, say that it's just been very light and fun. He's, of course they've discussed it at some point. I don't think there's any serious discussions about it, but I mean, if you're the head of DC Studios, James Gunn coming in, James Gunn used to work with Kevin Feige over at Marvel, making Marvel movies. He comes here, he's the head of DC Studios. Of course, at some point, him and somebody else, maybe even Peter Safran, of course they've chatted about, hey, wouldn't this be cool though? What if we did this? What if we did do the, whatever. So it's just that kind of, one of those moments of just like pie in the sky thinking, just chatting with somebody, not too serious. Because I want to put that out there and say that because I can see a lot of people seeing this and really getting up in arms about it. Because I will say I at first saw this and was like, what? Because I was thinking, well, this is too early. Like, why is he even thinking about this now? James Gunn needs to get stuff in order with DC first before even thinking about doing any of this. But it's just one of those things. When you read the quote, you see that it was all very, like he said, light and fun. And of course he did. If you were in that position, you would have done that too. Like, what if we could do this? Anyway, that's just my take on it. Kevin, what do you think about this whole thing about what James Gunn's saying about Marvel versus DC film?
I mean, I think you made a good point. I mean, he's just kind of saying like, hey, this is what's up. Maybe these things could happen. Who knows? It's all fun and light. So I mean, would I want to see a Marvel versus DC? Yeah, that sounds really cool. But yeah, no, I think I'm glad to see James Gunn even acknowledges that, hey man, I gotta establish the DC universe first. Because it's already confusing enough as it is, as we've already discussed in the past, with the whole idea of you're bringing back actors from the original DC universe with the Snyderverse, but you're bringing them into this other new DC universe with is it the Gunverse? I guess we call it the Gunverse, huh?
For now, I guess, until somebody tells us otherwise.
So Snyderverse actors are coming back to the Gunverse, but the Gunverse is also not allowing other Snyderverse actors to come back and replacing them. So I'm like, how do you establish what's going on? Plus, you got the Ezra Miller Flash coming in for his new movie, or their new movie, and listen, I've been hearing a lot of really good things about it, so I want to be like, yeah, but at the same time, it's hard because Ezra Miller is Ezra Miller, So it sucks because I don't want to support Ezra Miller anymore as the Flash. However, the movie sounds incredible from what people have said about it. So it's killing me, Raul. And also, this is something I was actually reading up on recently, was that James Gunn had been talking about how, who knows what's going to happen with Ezra Miller? Like, if we got to see how the movie does. And then depending on how the movie does, we'll see what happens with him as the Flash or them as the Flash. To me, that says, listen, this is what we're going to do. The movie's going to come out. We're going to make all this great money. And then afterwards, we're going to be like, oh, we had scheduling conflict problems. So we can't have Ezra come back. Sorry, guys. Guess we got to replace him. Oh, boy.
Good old scheduling conflicts.
God, and the movie did so well, too. Because the movie's going to do well.
What a shame.
Yeah, and it's weird because this news thing is, it's nice to know at least that James Gunn and Kevin Feige get along so well that they can talk about doing their own crossovers with each other's companies. But at the moment, I just think Ezra Miller is just the bigger focus right now. Like, I think James Gunn definitely has to just focus on this bigger stuff in front of him. Stop looking so far ahead. It's okay if it's light and fun, but like, get back to work. Do the thing you got to do, man. Just
get off Twitter.
Yeah, you get off Twitter,
James Gunn.
Yeah, you got to Fix the DCU before you can even joke about these little things here and there about what's going to happen in 10 years from now.
But it is nice to dream. Of course, it's like, he's having everybody would do it. Everybody would have that conversation. Hey, what if we did a Marvel versus DC thing? But in order for this to actually feasibly happen, right, Kevin, this would have to be a long ways off because, like we were saying, the new DCU that hasn't even entered the picture yet. We're still focused on the old era of DC, the DCEU, before we even move into the James Gunn DCU, which is still a couple years away with Superman Legacy. So, and this is supposedly everything that James Gunn has already announced is not even the full Chapter 1. Only part of Chapter 1. And the fact that he even calls it Chapter 1 leads me to assume that there's going to be more than one chapter. So who knows how far away this is going to be, because he's going to want to establish the DCU first. And that's going to take a long time. And then only then can it even be possible to even conceive of a Marvel versus DC film, because now that DC has a history of being the DCU. That's a long ways off. And not even mentioning like the legal like ways that this would even be possible. Like that's another thing. Like I don't even know that a Marvel DC film could even be possible right now, because you got to imagine all the legal dealings that would have to be done between Marvel and DC, and just all the compromising and I don't know. That's got to be something very difficult to suss out and figure out. Both companies being on board, not just Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers and Disney would have to make a deal to make this happen, which I don't know if I see that happening. I don't know.
Not even that. It's Disney that controls Marvel, which now has to work with DC Universe, which is owned by Warner Brothers, which is owned by Discovery. So that's another thing on top of that,
Everybody would have to put egos aside, and it's like, come on, let's be realistic here.
Well, let me throw this at you, Raul. I don't think that DC Universe should cross over with this current MCU.
I was going to ask you.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I think the MCU, I think the MCU is dying. And I think,
Oh, God.
I mean, listen, we got to talk about Jonathan Majors as well. I mean, what the heck's going on with Jonathan Majors? And that's he's Kang, and he's doing all these things. He might get fired pretty soon. We don't know. We got to see what happens with all the court cases for him. The biggest main villain is going to court for stuff that was not expected, This guy had a career trajectory that was supposed to go over the moon, and instead it's going flat down back to Earth. However, I just think now that Captain America's gone, now that Iron Man's gone, the Hulk's basically gone. There's all these characters.
His balls are gone. Oh,
the things that, but like all these characters that we wanted to watch in the MCU are disappearing. And now we've got a couple of characters here and there, but I feel like we got thrown so many superheroes on Disney Plus that we didn't really become emotionally attached to any of them as much as we want to. So I don't know. It just feels like right now the trajectory of the MCU is kind of starting to diminish. And by the time the DCU is ready to have their moment in the sun to be this big DC universe with Superman and Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, by the time that happens and they find that success, will the MCU still be in a position where it would be a good idea to do a crossover? I don't know.
Yeah. By the time, I was going to ask you that. By the time DC is at the point where you can even do a Marvel versus DC film, what would the landscape of the MCU even look like?
Exactly. So I think I want to hope that maybe Kevin Feige, I think this is what's going to happen. I think Kevin Feige is never going to do a crossover with James Gunn, which is okay, because I think James Gunn is going to end up doing a crossover with the next multiversal universe of the MCU, like the next iteration of the MCU that comes out. Because I think Kevin Feige is going to be done after the next 10 years. And once the next 10 years is over, he's going to retire. The MCU is going to reset.
Maybe even sooner than that.
Maybe sooner than that. Maybe as soon as Kang is gone,
After
what if,
Wars.
What if, Raul, what if the X-Men don't show up in the MCU? And that's it. Like, they end it and they reboot the whole MCU again. Now we have a new Captain America and new Spider-Man, new everything. And now we include the X-Men, and it takes place in a different timeline and blah, blah, blah. And that's what happens. That's what their whole plan was after all this stuff had gone down. There was a possibility. I don't know. It's all rumors and speculation, but you know.
I think they've made a lot of commitments to try and bring the X-Men over for this iteration already. I mean, Deadpool and all the stuff they've already hinted at with mutants and things already, you know, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And who am I leaving out? Miss Marvel, with all the mentions of mutants and mutation and bringing in Xavier, and now we've got Deadpool with Hugh Jackman. I mean, they've already made commitments already. They want to see the X-Men characters in the MCU right now. Like, they want to get to that point. It's pretty. I think it's pretty obvious.
Well, then let me throw this other idea at you. What about this? What if James Gunn and Kevin Feige did cross over their characters? However, they were both from Elseworld worlds. So Elseworld MCU characters and Elseworld DCU characters join in this multiversal battle with each other.
I honestly don't think they have the time to be thinking about that right now. They each have their own.
True.
They each have their own in-universe kind of stuff to worry about. To worry about right now. I think that would be too much for them to, we've been talking about Kevin Feige being spread thin. Can you imagine if now he had to focus on like Elseworlds? First of all, there's no other Elseworlds characters on the Marvel side for him to use without having to make a deal with like Sony or something like that.
I mean, like if they brought back another Captain America, another Iron Man, like different actors playing these characters.
Oh, I see. Just like a totally new, they just like make up their own new Captain America.
Totally new. Complete. Everybody's just reset the entire cast list for this one Elseworld movie where the MCU meets the DCU.
I see. Because I was thinking, when you said that, I was thinking like, for example, on the DC side, like James Gunn they would make a movie where James Gunn uses the Robert Pattinson Batman, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and then...
Yeah, no, definitely not that.
But you're saying that each side would make like their own new version of... No, that's too much. No. They both have... They both want to focus on building up their own universes here. James Gunn wants to focus on the DCU. Kevin Feige wants to keep focusing on the MCU. They're not going to take a break so that they can make all these new versions of these characters just so they can put them in a Marvel DC crossover movie. It's just it's not practical.
Well, here's the other reason why I don't think it'll happen either, is because the MCU is currently in a multiversal thing. You know, they're already doing multiverse. And so when they're done with the next 5 years, like, they're moving on. They have to. You know,
can you imagine after Secret Wars, then they announce, like, now we're doing Marvel versus DC. And then all the Marvel characters show up in the movie. I thought we were done with this multiverse shit. More multiverse?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a fun thing to talk about and discuss. But, like, you know, if you're a listener and you're a big fan of the crossover stuff as well, you can always read the comics, because the Marvel and DC had done comics together where they would write their characters together, and based on how many writers were on each team, a different character would win. Like, oh, Superman wouldn't say that. Oh, Batman wouldn't say that. Captain Marvel would never lose to that character because blah, blah, blah. Depends on how many writers you got in the team, who's going to fight what battle and win what battle.
That's another thing. That would be a nightmare to figure that out if I was writing on a film like that. How do you determine who wins, who loses? Like, what?
You'd have to do a King Kong versus Godzilla where they fight each other, and just when they're both about to really lose, then the big old monster shows up and they all go, we got to join up and fight that thing now. Oh, cool, because we don't want to make our fans mad.
Yeah, but that's two characters coming together to defeat another character. We're talking about hundreds of characters on the Marvel side, hundreds of characters on the DC side. Like, this is just
multiversal war.
This is not a practical movie. I'm sorry. No matter how you slice it, in story, behind the scenes wise, you know, company dealings wise, none of this is practical. It is a cool thing to talk about and consider. But I honestly think, like I was saying before, I think James Gunn is aware that this is just something he's talked about jokingly, lightheartedly. I don't know. It doesn't sound to me like he's taking anything like this seriously. If he wants to take this even more seriously, it's an uphill battle. There's a lot you got to figure out, practicality wise. So I don't know.
I'm looking forward to what James Gunn comes up with, because first things first, he's gonna do his Superman movie. Heck,
Yeah,
this is another thing
just got to
that
focus on DC right now.
he's just starting right now to talk about casting, because he says he's got a lot of great choices right now for who he's going to cast as Superman. So I don't know what that means per se, but hey, if he's got people in mind already, that's really great news. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But all we can get are some teasers really from him. Speaking of teasers, that's all. That's it. That's all our main topics today.
Yep.
But however, we do have to move on to our trailers that came out this month. Let me list these off. We got Fast 10, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Continental, The Marvels, Indiana Jones 5, Ahsoka, Across the Spider-Verse, Blue Beetle, and The Flash trailer just dropped. Now, I know we already had talked about Ahsoka, Across the Spider-Verse, Blue Beetle, Indiana Jones in our last episode, so we don't really need to bring those up too much. However, I do want to talk about The Marvels because I was not impressed by a Captain Marvel 2 movie. And then I finally saw this trailer, and Kamala Khan steals it, dude. She steals the whole thing, and she's incredible. And I'm pretty sure I'm only going to want to watch it because of her at this point. And she's awesome. She's so great. I don't know if you saw Miss Marvel yet. Have you seen Miss Marvel?
I've seen Miss Marvel. Yeah, no, I love Miss Marvel, and I love oh my goodness, I already forgot the name of the actress that plays Kamala, but she was so endearing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was one of my favorite things about that. I mean, and her and the family dynamic, Iman Vellani.
Yeah,
she was so awesome in the show, and I love just the sweet family dynamic that was going on with her and her family, and just seeing. It's really cool. Yeah, that's kind of when I got the most excited is when you see Kamala in this trailer and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Kamala's gonna be in this movie. Oh, that makes me excited now. It brought my excitement up to a different level where I don't think it would have been before if it was just gonna be a Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau story. The fact that Kamala is involved, it just like makes it more exciting to me and then you get to see the three of them together, and she's like the fangirl still, right? And the whole thing, it was so cute. The whole thing, oh, we're a team. Oh, we're not a team. Oh, we're a team. Like, it's just her bright-eyed kind of like
her excitement to become an Avenger too.
Yes.
Did I make it in the team?
Yeah,
did I make it? With Samuel Jackson there, like, oh, it's so good. It's just, I think that's just the fresh energy that we needed, because truth be told, Kamala Khan is us. We are her. We're such big fans of Marvel. We want it to succeed and be awesome. But like, when stuff like, the phase 4 happens, you tend to kind of lose the hope. But she's kind of like, I don't know, she's putting a glint back in my eye. Like, she's making me want to go back to it and be super excited about it.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that one. But were there any trailers here on this list that got your attention as well, Raul?
The other trailers that got my attention, well, I'd say The Flash was pretty interesting. I mean, that was a lot of fun. That one just recently came out, right? They released that trailer at CinemaCon, which was happening not too long ago.
Yeah, that's true. I thought it looked pretty cool. I mean, I felt like I saw most of the things that we'd seen in some clips earlier, but at the same time, I'm like, hey man, Michael Keaton's back as Batman. And people have just been saying really good things about this movie based on CinemaCon, so I can't wait. It's nice to hear that there's good superhero movies coming out, because the more good superhero movies there are, the better, in my opinion. It brings more people out to the theaters, and hopefully we can keep it all going. But yeah, I think that's my opinion on those as well.
Continental looks dope. Continental looks pretty cool.
Does look pretty dope. That does look pretty awesome.
I like that. I like that it's taking place in the 70s.
Yeah. You think we're going to see a young John Wick by the end of the 3-part movie?
I don't know. I kind of don't need to. Like, I don't think we need it. But, if they happen to throw in a young John Wick and make it not so obvious, know, like, hey, look, you see this? It's John Wick. Now, if they can do that and not make it so obvious, I'd be fine with that. But I don't know. I'm totally down to see what, the precursor to all this stuff is, the Continental. Maybe we'll figure out how this all got started, these hotels and all that stuff. But the action looks really cool. I dig the trailer. I love the music that they use in the trailer. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So
Actually, speaking of music sounding pretty dope, the Fast 10 trailer had some like bullet shotgun sounds along with the music that kind of just, I don't know why, maybe this is a psychological thing, but it hooked me right into the
because I'll
trailer.
tell you why, because it was Daddy Yankee's Gasolina, and Daddy Yankee
Ah,
being Puerto Rican, that kind
there
of
it
got
is.
subconsciously, it got into your brain and made you go, I like this for some reason, but I can't put my finger on why.
You know what? That's probably true. I've never seen any of the Fast movies, so I don't know. It's interesting to see. Dude,
Oh
I
my
swear to
God.
God, don't you
Have we
dare.
had this conversation
No,
already?
we have
I
not
think,
had this
are
conversation.
you
I don't,
sure?
maybe we did, but don't you dare challenge me to watch all 10.
You're going to watch every single Fast movie.
Every month from now on, it's going to be, have you seen the first one? What about the second one? And the third one? And the fourth one? Oh, God, 10
I'm not
months.
going to do that. I'm going to make you watch 9 of them because they're only 9.
Dang, man. Well,
Until the
actually,
10th.
for all you listeners out there, Raul is actually part of the Fast series. If you go on Netflix,
Yeah, in a way,
yeah,
I guess so.
Raul, what's the name of the Netflix series?
Fast and Furious Spy Racers.
And
It's
who do you play?
Netflix. I play Nacho, he's part of the team. He's like, he kind of has that kind of DTLA thing going on.
There it is.
So yeah, I'm Nacho on Fast and Furious Spy Racers. Yeah, if you want to check it out, it's on Netflix. I had a lot of fun on the show, but technically, yes, I am in the Fast and Furious universe. So
Heck yeah, my dude. Yeah, so maybe I should just start watching all the movies on my own time and then just try to get myself into it. I mean, but number 10 does look really cool, so I'm looking forward to it. However, we've also got movies that came out this month. We've got the Super Mario Bros. Movie. We got, wahoo, the Evil Dead Rise movie came out. We got Beau is Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix. We got the Air movie, which is about Michael Jordan. Renfield with Nicolas Cage. And Suzume, which is a Japanese animated film that came out recently, made by the same director of Weathering with You and a bunch of other cool movies. However, Raul, have you seen any of these movies?
Listen, wait a minute. Wasn't Dungeons and Dragons? Didn't that come out in April?
No, that came out on March 28th.
Come on, because I was like, I watched 2 movies from the month of April because I watched Dungeons and Dragons.
So it's safe to say
weeks ago.
the two of us are lame because we both only saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but the Super Mario Bros. Movie was great. I mean, but we just talked about it. We basically talked about how.
Yeah, we did. It's a great movie. It's awesome. Everybody should go see it.
Yeah,
well, listen.
I've seen nothing else on this list.
Well,
Jesus.
listen. I will say.
You see anything else?
Evil Dead Rise. I've heard semi bad things. So I'm.
No,
I'd say
I've heard good things. I've heard it's really scary and good.
Semi. I said semi. it's it could be something good. If you like scary movies, then maybe you'd like it. Maybe you'd enjoy it. But apparently, it doesn't have the jump scare value that it's supposed to have.
What?
Beau is Afraid is made by the director that made the one with
The Witch.
The Witch. No, wait, no, the one with where the scary movie happens in the daytime. Midsommar.
Oh, Midsommar.
Yeah, the director of Beau is Afraid is the same director of Midsommar, which means Beau is Afraid is not just this silly happy-go-lucky thing with Joaquin Phoenix having mental issues. It's like a scary thing, apparently. It's got some freaky stuff. Air, I've heard a lot of incredible things. It's got Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I really want to go watch that movie because I've heard nothing but good things. And it's got Amanda Waller. Oh my God,
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis in there. So anything with Viola Davis, I'm in. Renfield, I heard it tanked because it wasn't that good, but just the concept of Nicolas Cage being a vampire sounds really funny to me. And Suzume, I've heard it's incredible, and I haven't seen that one, and I really want to see that one too.
What is Suzume? I've never heard anything about this.
I don't know the story. All I know is that it's a really, really, really great anime film, and it's probably one of the best of that director. So if you're an anime fan, go watch Suzume, because I need to go watch it too. So Air, Suzume, and then Beau is Afraid are definitely on my list of I need to watch these movies. But yeah, that's it on my list, my end. Should we talk about
I'm going to say, well, wait a minute. No,
Yeah.
I'm going to say I love the shit out of Dungeons & Dragons. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it because I saw it and I was really proud of myself that I saw it. So I'm going to talk about it right now.
What day did you see it? What day did you see it?
I saw it. It was like, well, you know, I went out with Tyler and we saw it. It was like a couple weeks ago.
Was it in April?
Yeah, it was in April.
Okay, yeah. So you didn't talk about it last month during our last episode.
I didn't because I hadn't seen it.
Right. Okay. Well, okay, go ahead. Talk about it.
No,
who cares?
It was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure what to expect in this movie, except for the fact that going into it, I had heard a lot of good things about it. And it was just a blast. It was, and everybody, you could tell everybody involved was having a blast making the movie. And it's just funny. The action's really good. And it really does kind of, I don't know, the characters are all very endearing. And there's a lot, everybody has their moment. Everybody has their character arc, and you get invested in each one of the characters individually, which I just didn't think, I didn't expect that at all. You know, this movie kind of went beyond my expectations in that way, and I fell in love with all the characters, each of the characters, and you're on with each of their individual journeys. You're on board with them, and
it's funny, right? It's fun.
It's hilarious. It's
That's
so
awesome.
Good.
I keep seeing that clip of the guy who the undead, where they bring him back to life, and they're like, he's got 5 questions that we have to ask him, and then he'll die again.
Yeah. So I can ask him 5? Yes. Oh, that's 4 now. What? No, I didn't. Are you telling me I only got 4 left? Yes.
Oh
no. Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
I thought you saw it already,
dude. Okay, listen, all you listeners out there, I swear to God, we're not phony movie fans. Okay, I just got a puppy. Raul has a daughter. Okay, so I just got this puppy back in February, so it's been really hard to go out to the movies lately. However, he's finally old enough that he's starting to be able to hold his bladder for longer periods of time. So I might
Thank you, Kevin. I am. That's true. I am. Old
Raul
enough
is finally old enough. Yeah, it took him a while, but he, 32 years, and here he is.
I finally learned how to do it.
Finally learned how to do it. But no, it's I'm looking forward to watching all these movies. However, we have our movie of the month challenge right over here, because we have seen these movies this past month. This is a quick segment where we challenge each other to watch a movie we haven't seen yet. This episode's movies of the month were, for Raul, he had to watch Gladiator, and I had to watch North by Northwest. So Raul, why don't you go first, and then I'll let you have it with North by Northwest.
Yeah, you see, I knew it.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
I didn't say it was bad. I didn't say it was bad.
You said you're going to let me have it.
Now, let me hear some Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
So glad. I actually was very entertained watching Gladiator. This is a very fun movie. I had to watch it. I had to watch it over the course of 2 days, because I started watching the first part of it really late at night, and I was like, I can't fall asleep during this movie, so I'm going to pause it and watch it tomorrow. So I ended up watching this movie over the course of 2 days. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed. Even just this movie came out like what, 2000? And it still holds up. Yeah, 2000. It still holds up.
Yeah.
And God, Russell Crowe. I had to adjust my brain a second to see Russell Crowe that young again.
Oh yeah.
I just got so used to seeing my most recent memory of Russell Crowe has been
him playing Zeus.
Him playing Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder, and just trying to having a hard time getting that out of my head. But seeing him so young again, and the acting is spectacular. Joaquin Phoenix, oh my God, never have I wanted to see a villain die so gruesome of a death than seeing this character. It was just so wonderful, so epic. And the action still holds up really well. So, and now I'm excited now that we know this Gladiator 2 is coming out. I'm really excited to see where they go from here.
Yeah.
So I know so far we know that it's going to focus on the son. I don't know how, and I don't know. Spoilers here? Okay. Yeah. So spoilers for Gladiator, which has been out for forever and ever and ever. But hey, who am I to talk? I just saw it the other day. So, but yeah, the son. What's that? Why are you?
No, I thought you were going to spoil it. Go ahead, spoil it.
Well, I'm just going to say, all I'm going to say is I don't know how they're going to do a Gladiator 2 revolving around the sun.
Because the son's dead, right?
Yeah, okay. Let's just say that. Yeah, he's dead.
Just say it.
He's dead.
It's okay.
He's
Language.
dead. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Language.
Oh, I knew it was going to happen today.
He's dead. All right, he's dead. He's dead ski. He's under the ground. And so I don't know what they're going to do with the sequel. But I'm excited because I know they've got Barry Keoghan and Denzel Washington involved. And Ridley Scott's coming back. So that's again, I really had a great time watching it.
Sweet. That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it, my dude.
All right, Kevin, hold on. Give me a second. Let me just take a breath before you start speaking. Let me just gather myself and clench all my muscles and prep for the beating that is about to come.
North by Northwest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think this is the greatest movie that's ever come out. Ever.
Wait, what?
And by ever, I mean not at all, because I thought it was so bad.
Are you serious?
No. I didn't think it was so bad. Listen, the first 20 minutes of North by Northwest. By the way, for all you listeners, this is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It came out in 1959. For the first 20 minutes, I was actually really hooked because the idea of what's it called? Something identity, false identity, is that what it is? Was really interesting.
Mistaken identity?
Yeah, like the fact that people thought he was someone else and he had to put the pieces together to figure out what the heck's going on. I thought that was really fascinating. But I realized that the next half of the movie was just him not putting the pieces together. It was just him running away from things over and over. And I was like, well, that's cool, but like, I don't know. Listen, I'll give it points because this was the movie that had the giant plane chase scene thing where he's running away from the plane.
Very famous scene, yeah.
And is it sad that I recognize that scene because of Family Guy, because I grew up watching Family Guy. And there's a scene where Peter's running away from someone. They're literally doing it shot by shot, shot for shot. So it's so sad that Family Guy introduces me to all these movies that you've ended up showing me. But at the same time, I was like, oh, it goes to show that, Seth MacFarlane, he's got an eye for Hollywood films and stuff like that. So that's really cool. However, yeah, by the end, oh man, the ending of the movie, it just felt like Alfred Hitchcock didn't know where to go. So he was like, and then it's over. Then everything's fine. What? That's just, all right, listen, I don't care about spoilers. This came out in 59. You should have seen it. They're doing like the chicks falling off the mountain from Mount Rushmore, and the main guy, Cary Grant's just like, oh, come on, I'll save you. No, I'm slipping. Cuts to the next scene, and now we're fine. Are you kidding me? Listen, yeah, maybe back in 59 when people saw this movie, everybody was like at the edge of their seat going, oh my God. But the way
you
that
gotta put yourself in their shoes, Kevin.
You can't just do that. You can't just.
I can.
You can't just let a movie pass because of that. Storytelling has changed, my friend.
You gotta think how the audience of 1959 would have reacted to this movie.
We have TikTok Vine brains now. Things
you
need
can
to compartmentalize.
You can compartmentalize.
I don't know. No, let me take that back because I don't think that it was a TikTok brain problem. I think to me it's just. The pacing itself, I felt like it was just. It felt like the last third of the movie was so dragged on that I just wanted to get on with it already. Like, just do the thing you're supposed to. Where is this scene going? Where is this whole thing going, man? There's a situation, like the whole thing with the love scene. I could really go off on this, man. It's Betty, right? Her name was Betty. I think her name was Betty, the chick, the blonde girl.
Yeah.
It's probably not Betty. It's probably something else.
I can't remember. Let me see. Yeah,
no. It was Eve Kendall, played by Eva Marie Saint. Who Eva Marie is no saint. Let me just say, oh man, the whole sequence where she gets introduced and then they start falling in love with each other in the train. I was like, in my brain, I was like, where is this going? This is not pushing the story forward whatsoever. Clearly it did once you finish the movie and whatever.
Yeah.
But like when you first see the sequence, I'm like, man, it just feels like it got thrown in there. Like, it feels like it wasn't this thing that naturally happened. It just felt like Alfred Hitchcock was like, was all like, oh, well, we need a love interest as well. So let me just drop this in there so that all the conservatives, all the conservatives in the United States will enjoy it. It'll be rich and good, yes. But I don't know. I just,
it's a killer Hitchcock impression.
Yeah. So it was enjoyable.
All right.
For what it was. However, if I saw this movie, like if someone made this movie shot for shot today, I don't know if it would work.
I can understand judging it based on yes. If it were remade, it needs to be remade, but based on how we watch movies today, of course.
Storytelling has changed in 40 to 60 years, and it's definitely, you can tell how much of a difference there is when you watch a movie like this one. If this movie felt like one of those things where like listen, we're all movie fans, right? We love movies. We adore movies sometimes. And so we go really into it. Sometimes you don't go to a movie just to have fun. You go in because you want to be told a great story and you want to be entertained. So in the 1950s, 59, people went to the movies because it was just something fun to do that day. And they were like, well, it'll kill 2 hours and then we can move on. No, now these movie fans of 2023, we're like huge nerds about it, and we psychoanalyze every scene and sequence and script and whatnot. Maybe that's just the problem. Maybe that's what I'm having, Raul. And it's hard. It's hard to.
Not everybody. It's like one of those things. Yeah, I'm starting to discover it's just on how your brain's wired. Like for me, I'm able to. When I watch movies like that, I always keep it in mind. Like, well, and that's part of why I'm able to get stuff out of it is because I'm like, okay, well, I got to think, what was an audience at this time in 1959? If they had sat down and watched this movie, how would they respond? And that's what it's been like for me, because I've been able to do that and be able to think from that perspective, because then I can look back retroactively and be like, man, wow, this was the first thing they saw of this. Like, this is the first time they ever saw this kind of directorial cinematic technique before, and thinking about that stuff just fascinates me. I'm like, man, they've never seen like the shower scene in Psycho. Like, I appreciate that because I'm thinking, man, people in 1960, they've never seen this before. How crazy must it have been to be in the theater and see this kind of thing before? So that's one of the, I get fascinated with things like that, but I know it's not easy. It's tough. You gotta, especially just, we're living day to day in the world we live in now, and watching movies the way we watch them now. It's hard to kind of.
And I think this will definitely still be a very constant conversation you and I will always have when you challenge me. Anytime you challenge me to watch a movie that's that old, I will always have that point to make. However, there have been movies you've made me watch where I was like, this actually still holds up in my opinion. Like the 12 Angry Men. I thought 12 Angry Men, I could watch that. You could put that out in theaters right now, and I think everybody would still want to really keep watching it because it's great. It's a really, really, really well done movie.
That's why I'm going to keep bringing you these types of movies on our challenges, because I feel like it is worth it, isn't it? When you do find that one that's like, oh, okay, that's kind of a hidden gem.
Yeah, like 1 out of the 10, I mean.
Hey, but now you know of that movie.
Okay,
right?
but
now you know about 12 Angry Men, whereas you didn't before.
But for this movie, I did know about it. I just hadn't seen it.
Well, now you've seen it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, for this monthly challenge, though, I will request you to challenge me to watch something that's after the 80s.
All right.
That's all I ask.
Well, okay.
1980s and above.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds good.
Why don't I give you a movie first so you have time to think about yours?
I already know. Okay. Go ahead and give me yours first.
Okay. Oh wait, is it RoboCop?
It is RoboCop. It is because you said anything after the 80s. I was like, you mean after the whole decade of the 1980s?
No. Yeah, no. You can do RoboCop. That's fine. I will gladly watch RoboCop.
I'm giving you RoboCop because I think that's one you should see.
Okay,
I thought you had already seen it. Yeah.
Let me see here. Have you seen a movie called Gone Girl?
I have seen Gone Girl.
Dang it. All right, that's off the list. You've already seen The Menu, right?
No, I have not. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's good though.
Okay, there's your movie. You got
That's
the menu.
a recent one, right? That came out this year.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix or it's in HBO Max, one of the two, or Max now.
Or Max.
Yeah, so that's the one with Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes, where they're
Ray Fiennes?
Yeah, Ray Fiennes, where they're cooking and making food and whatnot. It's a very, very interesting movie.
Isn't that also with Nicholas Hoult?
Yes, it totally is.
Okay, I love Nicholas Hoult. I really enjoy watching him and stuff.
Also, I would recommend to you to order food after the movie's over.
Yeah.
But not during, not before. As soon as the movie is coming to the end, you should have food coming to you at that point. That's when you can eat.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. All right, we'll see. Well, okay.
Well then, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, wombos and whatnots, with that all being said, we have made it to the very end. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow us on Instagram at Real Geek News. You can also follow our separate handles on Twitter and on Insta at Kevin A. Rivera VO and Raul Ceballos VO.
That's right, and of course, as I've been saying, we do have a YouTube channel with all our episodes and our movie reviews, and we even take all these little segments that we do, all the topics, we split them up into segments, put those up as individual videos. So like, subscribe, hit the bell, and that way you can follow along whenever we post something new. And also, please help us out even more if you'd like to go on Apple Podcasts, find our show, and if you really do like our show and you really want to help spread the word about it, please go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, and we'd really appreciate your support. If you genuinely feel like our show deserves it and you like it, please do so and show us your support.
Or tell us what we can fix. That'd be great too.
Yes.
Finally, want to share your passionate thoughts and opinions about movies? Any movie reviews you'd like us to do? Well, then send us an email at realgeeknews@gmail.com. We'll leave all the descriptions below. With all that being said, stay safe, stay classy, and most important of all,
stay geeky, my friends.